So once you've done this, and what happens with the SWOT analysis, I've done a couple of these. And again, it's a very simple, robust tool, but because it's simple, it can be abused. And some of the common rookie mistakes with SWOT analysis is you get that anal retentive where you need to have, an equal number in each quadrant. So I have 5 strengths, I need to have 5 weaknesses and 5 opportunities and 5 threats. No, it may be all strengths, it may be all weaknesses, you just want to be honest. I have an example of a strategic planning process that I participated with an organization. I'm not going to mention any names. Starts with a S, ends with U. And this planning process was looking at the educational experience. And I had a group of faculty and administrators that were working together, a long-term project, and somebody decided that let's do a SWOT analysis. And the first time we decided to work on the weaknesses and had all kinds of stuff, and somebody put as a weakness that faculty are unavailable. And no data, no students in the room, but we put down that faculty were unavailable. And so the next planning session we came back together and we were going to work on strengths, and somebody raised their hand and said, excuse me, I have an issue with the weakness that faculty are unavailable, because it has not been my experience that faculty are unavailable. In fact, as a faculty member, I have office hours and nobody ever shows up with my office hours. So after much discussion, we determined that faculty availability was a strength, but we have lazy students because they don't take advantage of the office hours. But again, no data, no students in the room. The quality of the analysis is the quality of the decisions that follow on it. So again, easy to use, but easy to abuse. So then, once you have done this SWOT analysis, strategies become relatively simple. And a strategy is just a long-term activity that either takes advantage of a good thing or minimizes a bad thing. So you've done this SWOT analysis, which you've identified key issues in the environment, you evaluated whether they're good or bad, whether you can do something about them, and then the strategy is just to use them. So we had talked about if I have a hotel that is on a cliff that has a weak financial position, one strategy might be to partner with a vacation company to offer vacations because we have a unique location and because we have a weak financial position. The company that we partner with will provide the financial support to make it work. And again, you'll develop lots of strategies, and it doesn't have to be one strategy per one thing on the SWOT analysis. You could have one strategy that takes into account everything, or you might have 3 strategies that address one particular issue. And this is kind of a creative process where you just go through as many of these as possible, lots of ideas, looking at the SWOT analysis. And then once you've developed the list of these are all of the potential things that we could do to get us to our goal, then we start evaluating them. And the idea is you look at the resources that you have and the goals that you're trying to achieve, and you try to choose the strategies that will give you the best shot at achieving your goal with the least cost. And I think I put this highly confusing chart in the book. This is a little above undergraduate level, but it's a nice, useful tool. Let me try to explain it. This is a generic tool or a generic process that you can use for doing a systematic evaluation of both quantitative and qualitative attributes. So in this case, I just made it up, fictitious, is that we have 6 alternative strategies. Okay? And then let's say that the goal or the objective is 25% of sales from new products in 5 years, all right? So the first strategy, and I don't know what it is, we think that would generate 5% of sales from new products. Second strategy, 20% of sales from new products. You get that going along. And then the next thing is, what's the probability of success? You know, the first one, 80% chance, we've done this before. And we'll talk about the product market growth matrix. It's a penetration strategy, high probability of success, incremental gains. The strategy C is less probable, and you can see we've got, and again, whether you do a lot of intensive research to support these numbers or whether you do them on the back of a napkin depends on how much is at stake. And then what's your expected outcome? So if I've got a 5% increase in sales and I have an 80% chance of that happening, my expected outcome is 3.57%, right? That's just straight probability. And then how much is it going to cost? And what that does at the very bottom, it comes down with a metric of, you know, how much does it cost to get 1% increase in sales? Okay, so I've got 6 strategies. I've looked at what the benefit, looked at the probability, looked at the cost, and came up with this apples to oranges comparison, which is dollars per percentage increase. And then once I've got to this point, which strategies would I adopt? Say again? Well, what's the first one you do? What's the first one you'd choose? A, because we call that the low-hanging fruit. It's the least cost for achieving it. So if we adopt A, we're expecting a 3.75% increase in new product sales. Is that going to get us where we want to get? No. So what do we do next? We look for the next best one. And what would the next best one be? I don't have my glasses, so I can't see. So that would be E. So that's $6,000 a point. That would give us another 8% increase in new sales. So if I do A and E, it would cost me $8,000, and I would expect to have about a 10% increase, 12% increase. Still not going to get me there, right? So what do we do next? So I take them until, and you don't take them until you have a 25% increase. You take them until you have more than 25% increase, because you always want to have overkill. Or till you run out of money. And if I run out of money at $10,000, I'll go back to management and say 25% is unrealistic. I can do 12. Unless I get more resources, and I would need an additional $30,000 to get us, you see how that does when we talked about developing budgets. You go back to your top-down, bottom-up. Top-down says 25% increase. Bottom-up says I can only do 12 with what you got. Now you've got a basis for negotiation. And you're not just making things up. You've got, these are specific things that I'm going to do that are going to get us there, and this is what they're going to cost. So again, a little advanced for an undergraduate course, but I just think this concept of using this kind of a matrix to evaluate different things, it allows you to look at both qualitative and quantitative aspects, and I think it can be a very powerful tool. So throw it out at you.